Hi everyone, my name is Jen. I'm a research assistant with a bachelor's degree in neuroscience. I have 9 years of experience in neuroscience and molecular biology research. In my day job, I study degenerative neuromuscular disorders, like ALS. Today I'm going to be talking about viruses. I'll give you a short overview of what viruses are all about, and how the SARS-CoV-2 virus fits into what we already know about viruses in general. So, what is a virus? Viruses are a hugely diverse set of biological particles. Fun fact, I say biological particles because viruses are in a gray area between alive and inanimate. They are considered non-living, but they share some attributes with living things. But that debate could be a topic for a video on its own. For something that can wreak so much havoc, viruses are pretty simple. Basically, a glob of genetic material surrounded by a coat of proteins. Their dangerous simplicity is elegant. A virus's entire existence is focused around one thing, making more copies of the virus. Since a virus cannot replicate on its own, it infects cells and hijacks the host cell's machinery to use as its personal copy machine. This process is cytopathic, which just means that it hurts the host cell. Sometimes the infection disrupts the cell's structure, killing it. Other times, the cell goes through a programmed self-death called apoptosis to try to cut the virus off before it can replicate. Either way, it's bad news for the cell. As the infection spreads, it can make entire organ systems go offline. Viruses are tiny, so small that they can only be seen with special electron microscopes. For instance, the coronavirus class of viruses are around 125 nanometers long. To put that into context, the head of a pin is about 2 millimeters long, which means 64 million virions could all hang out on the head of a pin. Viruses are seriously tiny. Even though viruses seem genetically and biologically simple, they are extraordinarily diverse and come in all kinds of different shapes. According to the International Committee on the Taxonomy of Viruses, there are around 5,600 known species of viruses. This is probably an underestimate though, because these are just the ones that have been named. Some of humanity's scariest and most stubborn adversaries throughout history have been viruses. For instance, smallpox, rabies, the common cold, and influenza, just to name a couple. As of 2012, 219 different viral species capable of infecting humans have been identified, and it's estimated that 3 or 4 new species pop up annually. A major way that new pathogenic human viruses develop is through a process called zoonosis, where different viruses recombine in an animal and adopt new characteristics. If this new virus jumps the species barrier to humans, it will be something our immune systems have never encountered before and don't know how to defend against. This is probably what happened in the case of the novel coronavirus that's currently spreading worldwide. The novel coronavirus is one of those enveloped viruses like HIV and influenza that I drew earlier. Side note, they're called coronaviruses because the proteins protruding off of the surface resemble the corona or crown of the sun. It has a single-stranded RNA molecule in the middle, which is surrounded by a protein shell called a capsid. Around that is the envelope, which is made up of a lipid bilayer. The entire SARS-CoV-2 genome is around 30,000 base pairs long. For comparison, the human genome is about 3 billion base pairs long, which is around 100,000 times longer than the SARS-CoV-2 genome. I've included the genome links of some other model organisms for comparison as well. It's astonishing to think about how something so small and simple can be so destructive to our bodies and to our society. I'm going to leave you with one piece of advice. Please wash your hands. I've heard that some people say that hand washing is ineffective because soap is not antiviral. Hand washing is effective though, and here's why. Remember the envelope that the coronavirus has protecting the genetic material? Remember how the viral envelope is made up of lipids? Lipids are fat. Think of it like a thin layer of butter surrounding the virus. Soap is really good at breaking down hydrophobic materials like fats. So when you wash your hands thoroughly with soap, it will break down the envelope of any viruses hanging out your hands, incapacitating them. And then it washes them away. Science in action. Stay well, everyone, and remember, wash your hands. Thanks for watching.